In boxing, stance is supposed to define you. But tonight, you are about to see four men who refuse to be defined at all. They do not switch for survival. They switch for domination.
Combat countdown. No mercy.
We begin at number 4 with a man who was as much a circus act as he was a devastating puncher. I am speaking, of course, of the Prince, Naseem Hamed. Look at the leopard print, the arrogance, the utter disdain for a high guard. Against Kevin Kelly in 1997, Hamed's American debut, we saw the most erratic manifestation of the switch-hitting style. He doesn't switch to be correct. He switches to be explosive. As a southpaw one moment, then suddenly he leaps into an orthodox stance with a total disregard for his own balance. He was dropped 3 times in this fight, but the power, the sheer raw power in those hands allowed him to overcome his technical follies. He uses the switch not as a defensive shield, but as a striking catapult, putting Kevin Kelly down for the 3rd and final time. Now observe the tactical brilliance amidst the bravado. We see Tom Johnson, a man of championship pedigree, pinned against the ropes like a prisoner facing a firing squad. But the Prince is not content with mere pressure. Look closely at his legs. He shifts his entire skeletal alignment, transitioning from his natural southpaw stance into the orthodox. Why? To manufacture a level of torque and leverage that defies traditional pugilistic theory. He is quite literally rewiring his power grid in the heat of the exchange. Johnson is bewildered. His defensive radar is calibrated for a left-handed lead, yet he is being assaulted by a newly manufactured right-handed powerhouse, and here it is, the culmination of the deception. The Prince finds the opening, uncorks a devastating right hook from that orthodox stance, a blow born entirely of his ability to switch, and Johnson is sent crashing to the canvas. It is a spectacular manifestation of ambidextrous violence. We move now from the featherweights to the land of the giants. At number 3, we find the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, a man of massive proportions who possesses a nimbleness that defies the very laws of physics. Observe him here against Deontay Wilder, a man whose right hand is whispered about in hushed tones, yet whose technical acumen is, quite frankly, pedestrian. Fury remains in his traditional orthodox orientation, using his reach to frustrate and becloud the vision of the bronze bomber. The bronze bomber is deposited once more upon the canvas. Observe Fury offloading an unrelenting barrage of lefts and rights in the neutral corner. It is a display of such absolute finality that Kenny Bayless has no alternative but to stop this fight. But the true genius of Tyson Fury is his ability to shed his skin. He is a tactical chameleon. When the situation dictates a change in geometry, he does not hesitate to abandon the conventional. Against Derek Chisora, he begins in the orthodox, testing the waters, feeling the pulse of his opponent. Then, the Gypsy King senses a vulnerability, a gap in the defensive shell that can only be exploited from the wrong side. He makes the transition. He becomes, for all intents and purposes, a natural-born southpaw. From this point forward, it is a master class in ambidextrous surgery. He utilizes a stiff piston-like right jab that is as relentless as it is demoralizing. Chisora's offense is totally neutralized, rendered obsolete. Fury isn't just winning a fight. He is conducting a technical interrogation. We arrive at the penultimate entry, marvelous Marvin Hagler. He occupies the number 2 slot, separated from the summit by the thinnest of margins. A mere matter of technical nuance. Observe the opening round against the formidable John the Beast Mugabe. Hagler, a natural right-hander, begins in the orthodox stance. A calculated gambit designed to disorient an opponent expecting the southpaw's treacherous angles. By the 6th, he is still operating from that unnatural posture. For Hagler, the jab is a lead pipe cinch delivered with the terminal velocity of a power shot. He is the consummate strategist, utilizing his bilateral dexterity to dismantle the beast's resolve. Both men exhibit chins of granite, but in the 11th, Mugabe enters the deep, dark waters of the late rounds, territory he has never charted. Hagler, the veteran architect of destruction, senses the fatigue. He finds the mark, and Mugabe's night comes to a definitive conclusion. Now observe the April night in 1985 against Thomas the Hitman Hearns. Hagler abandoned the subtle chess match. He initiated a blitzkrieg of southpaw power specifically designed to force Hearns onto his back foot. By switching to the left-handed stance, Hagler effectively neutralized the hitman's legendary reach, creating a chaotic close-quarters environment that favored the marvelous one's durability. Hearns, a puncher of extraordinary pedigree, finds himself overwhelmed by the sheer, unadulterated volume and the ever-shifting angles of Hagler's attack. Hagler isn't merely moving, he is reconfiguring the geometry of the ring. He is dictating the very destiny of the middleweight division through sheer physical imposition and a masterful ambidextrous assault. He takes the silver tonight only because our number one perhaps exhibits a slightly more innate fluid comfort when operating exclusively as a southpaw. But make no mistake, Hagler remains the quintessential gold standard for the ambidextrous warrior, an unparalleled specimen whose tactical versatility and ironclad resolve continue to dictate the very definition of pugilistic greatness. And here we arrive at the summit, the apex of the ambidextrous art, Terence Bud Crawford. He claims the throne today by a margin as thin as a razor's edge, primarily due to a level of comfort in the southpaw stance that is, quite simply, unparalleled in the modern era. Observe the clinical precision here against the Scotsman. Ricky Burns. Crawford opens the proceedings from the orthodox stance, utilizing his natural right-handed reach to dictate the geography of the ring. Yet, note the nuance. For a fleeting moment, a mere heartbeat of time, he shifts to southpaw, only to revert back to his orthodox foundation. It is a psychological bombardment, a masterclass in making an opponent doubt his own defensive calculus. Now, we transition to the physical confrontation with Sean Porter, a man of relentless, bullish pressure. Here, Crawford makes the definitive commitment to southpaw from the very start of the sequence. He utilizes the right-handed posture as a temporary sanctuary, but then changes to southpaw as a permanent base of operations for offensive devastation. His timing is impeccable. His lead hook carries the terminal velocity of a power shot delivered with a casual brilliance. Even when facing formidable opponents of technical wizardry, Crawford remains rooted in that southpaw brilliance. While Hagler was a strategist who used the orthodox stance to confuse, Crawford exhibits a fluidity that suggests he is perhaps at home in both the orthodox and southpaw stance. It is this innate, born-to-do-it comfort, the ability to neutralize titans of stature like Spence and Canelo, that separates him from the pack. He is the consummate master of the dual threat. He doesn't just change his feet, he changes the destiny of the fight. For his ability to fight with equal, if not superior efficacy from either side of the ball. Terence Crawford stands alone at the top of our countdown, a truly extraordinary pugilist.
Combat countdown. No mercy!